All right, welcome to this edition of the Ernest Speaking TV. Once again, I'm your host, Ernest EJ Christian. We are going to talk about UFC 190, which is tomorrow night. Joined here, of course, by my friend, also contributor to Earnestly Speaking. He's now our official UFC/MMA expert, my man James Thompson, also known as JT. JT, what's going on?
What's up, man? Great to be on. Glad to see you talking about MMA. I love it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my feet wet in this sport, man. Really just trying to, like I said, I've always liked it. Just really, a lot of times I have time to put more time into it. But yeah. I really, I guess with the Ronda Rousey is getting huge. Of course, Jon Bones Jones for years, of course, prior to his recent situation. It's got me more intrigued. But as you know, UFC 190 is just around the corner, and the main event can't be any more highly publicized than the feud between Ronda Rousey and Bethe Correia. JT, is this fight the biggest female fight in UFC history thus far?
They're trying to hype it up like that, but I don't know if I can go that far. The only thing that makes it such a big fight, in my opinion, is Ronda is super motivated to really hurt this chick because she's taken it personal because of her comments about her dad's suicide and Bethe Correia telling her to kill herself. So they're hyping it like that, but I feel like Ronda's going to walk right through her. So it's hard for me to justify it.
Tell me a little bit on Bethe Correia a little bit. I mean, obviously we hear a ton about Ronda Rousey. She's huge. She's mainstream. She's all over the place. The ESPYs. She's, on TV and whatever. Is Correia a legitimate challenger? And furthermore, does she even have a snowball's chance of hell against Rousey on Saturday night?
She's definitely a legitimate challenger just because women's MMA is so new. There's not a ton of top girls out there. But this girl is 9-0. I don't know if you've seen her yet, but she's physically just super jacked, really strong, has great striking, super tough. She's dominated two of Ronda's teammates, Jessamine Duke and Shayna Baszler. She destroyed them. And then after those fights, she looked at the camera and put her hands up and did this thing to signify the Four Horsemen, which is Ronda and her team of three.
Oh, the Four Horsemen, like almost like WWE, WCW type thing.
Yeah, the four horsewomen, Ronda calls it. It's her and her three teammates, and the third teammate's not even in the UFC, so Bethe Correia doesn't even count her. So in her mind, she's already said, "I've destroyed the other three. Now I'm coming for Ronda. You're the last one." And she said, "Then I'll be the title holder, and I will retire undefeated, not you."
Well, now that you mentioned the Four Horsemen angle, is Ronda Rousey the Ric Flair of UFC?
She's bigger.
That's saying a lot, because Flair's pretty big.
Ronda is the biggest MMA star in the world right now. What she's done is absolutely mind-blowing. You have to give her a lot of credit.
And she's far and away obviously the biggest, but is she far and away the best fighter in that division? Like far and away, not even close? Not even close.
There's no one even close to her. And if you've heard any of Dana's recent interviews, he's on record that she is the biggest star in the UFC over any of the male athletes. That's how big this girl has gotten. Bigger than Conor, bigger than all of them.
Wow. JT, you've been following the sport for years, since the early 90s, before it even became mainstream.
Since 95.
Since 95, right. What do you find personally most appealing about Ronda Rousey?
She's just a breath of fresh air. She's just no nonsense. She goes in and gets the job done. And we really have never seen anybody do what she's done. I mean, if you go look at her entire career, counting her amateur fights, she only has one fight ever that didn't get finished in the first round. And that was Miesha Tate, who took it to the third round, and then Ronda armbarred her. Ronda is just so dominant. I mean, she's finishing fights in 10 seconds. That's just unheard of.
It is. I mean, the joke now is that her fights last just as long as the Instagram videos allow video feeds.
Pretty much.
It's sick. Should Ronda Rousey win this fight this Saturday against Correia, are there any notable challengers we should all look out for that she may face down the line?
Well, Dana have already announced that the winner of this fight is going to fight Miesha Tate for the title. So assuming Ronda wins this fight, which she's a huge favorite, I can't see anybody realistically picking her to lose this fight. So assuming she wins this, it's going to be her versus Miesha Tate for the third time.
Now, I mean, we all expect her to win, but let's assume she loses this fight, which is highly unlikely. But let's for argument, let's happen. what is the repercussions moving forward for her, and does this shake up the sport again?
I think it would be shocking. I mean, the whole world will be talking about it. I can't even picture it happening, honestly. Realistically, her only shot is to KO Ronda, and I just don't see it happening. I think she's just a little bit too slow. She doesn't have the experience. If you go look at her record, she's went to decisions and split decisions with girls that Ronda would just outclass on every level. So Correia really needs to show the world that she's not just all talk. She's been talking a huge game. Let's see if she can back it up Saturday. I don't think she can.
Would this upset, if Rousey were to lose this fight, would this upset be like up the ranks of like a Tyson, Buster Douglas type of deal back in 1990?
I believe so. Yeah.
Because that was a big deal. I mean, you and I are old. I mean, I remember when that happened.
I was watching that fight live, and when Tyson got knocked out, I couldn't even believe it. I just didn't even know what to say. I'm a huge Tyson fan.
Yeah. What other matches on this card worth watching? I mean, obviously this is not the only fight going on this weekend. Anything that sparked your eye?
Absolutely. You've got the rematch of one of the biggest fights in history. Back in the day when Pride was the top thing, you had a tournament. It was called the Pride tournament, and Shogun ended up winning that. But one of the first fights in that, he had to fight Antonio Nogueira, which is his name's Little Nog, and it was a classic fight. All the MMA fans love it. It was just an absolute war. Well, he won that fight, but the rematch years later is going to be this Saturday. So that is a huge fight everybody's looking forward to. And then you also have his brother on the card, who's fighting Stefan Struve, who is this young kid. He's 7 foot tall, and he's actually restarting his career after a health scare. He had a problem with his heart, and they thought he was not going to be able to continue. But he is coming back, and it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Right. I want to ask you one more question. We'll let you go. But I want to get your take on Jon Bones Jones. As you all know, he was suspended early this spring and stripped of the UFC title after his well-publicized hit-and-run infraction. Are we ever going to see Bones Jones back inside the octagon at some point? And if so, when do you predict that's going to happen?
I don't see any way that he doesn't come back. If
right.
for some reason Jon comes out and says, you know what, I'm done, I think the whole world will be shocked. This guy is undefeated. He's the most dominant light heavyweight of all time, possibly the most dominant fighter of all time. I feel like he's going to get – people don't realize when he becomes a champion, he was a young kid. So he comes into this fame and this money and endorsements and all this stuff. The pressure just overwhelming. He made a couple mistakes. I think people are way too hard on this guy. Just everyone makes mistakes. He's working on it right now. There's a possibility still that he might have to serve jail time because of the hit and run. No one knows for sure. But assuming – even if that does happen, let's say he goes to jail for a year, I still believe he will come out. And he's so young and so dominant. I still think he's going to come back and regain the title.
When he's part of the roster, he's the best fighter on the roster, right? When he's here,
without a doubt.
Who are the guys right now in the meantime to look out for in his absence?
Well, Daniel Cormier became the champion because basically Jon Jones was stripped, so he fought Anthony Johnson for the title. Daniel destroyed Anthony Johnson. He's got a fight coming up with Gustafsson, which is going to be a massive fight. So right now, Daniel Cormier is considered the real champion, but there's a lot of people, that until you beat the old previous champion, people aren't giving him credit. So a lot of people are calling him a paper champion, but he only can do what he can do. He beats the guys they put in front of him. He beat the guys they put in front of him. He became the champion. You have to respect him, and he is a hell of a fighter.
That's my man JT, who covers the UFC MMA here for Earnestly Speaking TV and the podcast, of course. James, thank you so much for doing this, man. First time, man. I appreciate it. We'll do this again soon, definitely, man. And by the way, before you let you go, your quick take on Russell Wilson's new deal. I know you and I, you're a Vikings fan, I'm a Giants fan, but we both have an affinity for the Seattle Seahawks and their team. What's your quick take on Russell Wilson's new contract?
I'm a huge Seahawks fan just because I love what they've done. I'm glad they got it done. Russell Wilson is an unbelievable quarterback. I mean, he's one horrendous call away from being back-to-back Super Bowl champions, going for a third one this year. So this guy is just great on every level, and I'm glad that he finally got what he truly deserved.
Top 10? Top 10 in the league?
Without a doubt.
Top 5?
I'm going to go top 5.
Okay. I mean, I haven't done my rankings yet for my quarterbacks. I'm gonna wait till August, a little bit of August, so let some time go. I'm actually kind of inundated by the baseball. I'll be honest with you, baseball is kind of interesting right now. It's actually pretty interesting right now. I'm not gonna lie. But we're getting close to football, and we'll obviously have you on there to talk about football in the future. But like I said, I'm really proud of Russell Wilson getting his money. He deserves it. And like I said earlier on social media, people who are critical of Russell Wilson's deal. Here's the deal. This is why you lock a guy Russell Wilson in, because if you don't, you have Josh McCown to deal with in the free agency. And yeah, that's not going to work out for you.
No,
just saying,
not at all.
So JT, man, thanks for on the pod, man, and on TV. Appreciate it, man.
One quick mention, just for those that are kind of trying to get in UFC or in MMA, watch the prelim tonight. They're on free TV. There's
tonight?
one fight.
Tonight, Friday night.
Sorry, it's tomorrow night.
Okay.
Tomorrow night, before the pay-per-view card on Fox Sports 1, they always give the prelims. There's one fight that I feel like should be on the pay-per-view, so it's a treat for us fans. Neil Magny versus Damian Maia, who fought Anderson Silva for the title. He has, next to Jacare, he has probably the best jiu-jitsu in all of MMA. He's fighting this guy, Neil Magny. Neil Magny, he was on a tear. He's won like 8 fights in a row. So this fight is going to be a great fight, and I feel like it should be one on the pay-per-view card. So people should check out that prelim fight.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out then. Definitely. I'm off tomorrow, so nothing to do tomorrow. I'll check it out. All right, brother. You take care. Have a good weekend, and thanks for your insight.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it.
You got it, guys. Take care.
Later.